Hey, 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 it's the Fat Albert. How many of you guys remember Fat Albert from way back in the day when you could only watch cartoons on Saturday mornings and it wasn't a 24-hour streaming service like it is nowadays? So, hello everybody, how's it going? I hope you're having a wonderful evening and you're getting ready for the weekend, baby. Yes. Anyway, hope you have wonderful plans for this weekend. I am popping on so I can share with you some good stuff, some good information, especially for those of you who are dealing with working with a younger cohort of individuals, particularly when it comes to your leadership in your organization and your boss. So we're going to be talking about how to advance with a younger boss. And that's a big thing nowadays because the millennials are taking over. And a lot of people are finding themselves with bosses that are much younger than them. In some cases, young enough to be their children. And so it causes a lot of friction, conflict, and distress for some individuals. But we're going to talk about how you can successfully handle and navigate such a situation if that's one that you happen to find yourself in. Hello, Fitzgerald. How are you? Thank you for tuning in. So, as you come in, say hello so I'll know who's on the line and I can say hello back to you. But at any rate, as I said, that's what we're going to be talking about. How you can advance your career when you're an older individual who is working with bosses and leadership that is much younger than you. So I am Bashana Weatherspoon, career strategist and excellence accelerator, helping women who feel frustrated in their careers to emerge from stuck and surge to their next level of success. I am also the host of the Know Your Worth Career podcast that is centered around, that's centered around helping women to navigate some of the sticky situations that we often find ourselves in the workplace. And we bring on special guests who talk about different topics to help us to figure out some whys and, just some successful ways, some ideal ways of dealing with some of these situations. Because as we all know, we as women have different experiences in the workplace than men. We're viewed differently. There's different perceptions and different ideals and thoughts about how we should behave and how we should, the kind of roles we should play in, all kinds of things. And so this is very much a needed platform to be able to help women to advance in their careers. So before I jump in, I'm just curious, how many of you that are on this live, even if you watch it on the replay, just type replay in the comments and type a 1 if you have a younger boss. And if you don't, type 2. I just want to see, how many people are facing this situation. I know from personal experience, I am one of those individuals who is the younger boss. And so I can very well relate to, having had a supervisor that was older than me versus, I don't think I've ever had a supervisor that was younger than me. I've had one around the same age, but, being put in that position where I have, people who work for me who are much older than me, and then just a couple that are actually probably younger than me. But anyway, so it's a different situation, and you have to be able to navigate that and handle it in a special way, because there are situations that arise, and you as the individual, particularly me, I can see certain things, but luckily I have this information, and so I can identify what it is and figure out an appropriate way to deal with the things that come up. But if it's someone who, is brand new to this whole work arena and they don't have the tools, like me, when I first started my very first professional job, I was supervising a woman I was 23 and she was like 50 something. She had grown kids that were out of the house, and that was really a trip for me. Coming in, very first professional job, and trying to supervise somebody who was old enough to be my mother, especially my mother, and she probably could have been something else. But anyway, all of that to say, it's a very real situation. We often find ourselves in it, at some point throughout our careers. And because it's something that causes a lot of confusion, a lot of stress, a lot of conflict, I want to talk about it. And this was something, it was sparked because someone mentioned it in a message that they sent to me. And it just made me think, this is a real thing. The generational issues in the workplace is a real thing, and I want to talk about it. So that's why I'm here, and I hope that if you know someone who is dealing with this, or if you are dealing with this, or a family member or a friend, tag them in this video so that they can hear this information, because I want them to learn what it is that they need to do, these older workers, to be able to excel in their careers despite the fact that they are dealing with people who are much younger than them as bosses and supervisors. So I'm just going to share with you a few things that you can look at, a few areas that you can look at, and see if these are some things that you need to pay more attention to, some areas where you can do a little bit of tweaking, if you will, so that you can have successful outcomes when it comes to working with the younger generation. And this particular live is specifically for older individuals who have younger individuals as bosses. We're all used to having older people as our boss. That's kind of the norm. So this one is a little bit out of the norm, and so it deserves a little bit of discussion. So here are some things that you can do, some areas that you can look at if you find yourself in a situation where you are applying for positions and you're not being promoted, you're being overlooked, your skills and your attributes are not recognized. Then you might want to take note of some of these things. So, I'm just going to say millennials, and it could be that the person is not a millennial. It's just that they're much younger than you. But if you are in a situation where you're dealing with a millennial who is your boss, then, they value things much differently than people in the older generations, in the baby boomer generation or in the Gen X generation. The values are different. The experiences are different. I mean, we all grew up very differently. The kids now are growing up in this whole technology space, and so they grow up with cell phones and computers and internet and all of this stuff that we never ever would have dreamed of as a kid. And so it makes their experience a whole lot different. They can access a lot of information. They have access to lots of people. They tend not to rely on that in-person, face-to-face communication as much, because they have all of this nice, fast technology and share drives and, all of this digital stuff that they have that we didn't have. And so as a worker who has been around for a while, first of all, you need to be able to keep up with this whole technology thing. And you might not be a master at all of it, but just the basic things that are in trend now, especially as it relates to your job and your career, you need to get up to speed on them. Learn how to use the different apps, and because there's all kinds of apps for all kinds of things now. Learn how to utilize them, how to use them so that you can get your work done using them, like instant messaging, for instance. That's one of the things that the younger crowd likes to use at work. They like to text a lot versus picking up the phone and having a conversation, or walking over to your desk and, having a face-to-face interaction. So, that's an adjustment you need to look at. And maybe that could be causing a disconnect for you. Maybe they want to look at stuff on their computer screen and read, versus you want to have a resume printed out, or a piece of paper or a report printed out in front of you so you can read the old-fashioned words written on the paper. And that could be causing, somewhat of a disconnect, especially if you have a younger person who's trying to establish themselves, who's trying to make a name. I'm going to use this terminology, like make a name for themselves, so to speak. But they're trying to figure out their space in this bigger space, and how they fit in, and really, how to. They're figuring out how to work with you as much as you are figuring out how to work with them. I mean, let's be honest, it's a two-way street. But anyway, the technology gap is one of the big things. So make sure that you at least know the things that are pertinent and relevant to your career field, to your job, so that you can do those things, that use the technology to do those job tasks that you have, so that is not a point of contention between you and your younger boss. The other thing is, if we've been in a place for a long time and we've, got all of this experience and all of this knowledge, that stuff is valuable. But what we tend to do is, instead of letting people know what it is that we're capable of in a productive kind of way, we tend to, just really kind of hone in and talk about, your experience in an effort to point out the supervisors or the boss's inexperience, or what you perceive as their inexperience, because they haven't been there as many years as you have. And so, that really is not a good, that's not a good thing to have present in terms of creating and fostering a good relationship when you are of the two different generations. And so you want to make sure that instead of, bragging about your experience and their lack thereof, that you are actually using that opportunity to highlight some of your accomplishments, highlight the experience, your relevant experience, and how you can utilize that to help to get the desired outcomes for your team or your group or your organization. So, it's much more helpful when you can show how you can contribute, how you can help to move an effort forward, versus just being a roadblock and an obstacle. So you want to pay attention to that and make sure that that's not something that you're doing to create a brick wall for yourself, so to speak, so that you will never be promoted or advance in your career, especially by the millennials. Okay, and so the next thing that you need to do is just create some diverse networks. We all know that networking is very important in the professional arena, especially when you're looking to get advancement opportunities, when you're looking to get promoted, when you're looking for, even if it's just lateral movements, it helps to know somebody who might be able to tell you about a lead, to make a referral for you, or to give you a job. So, make sure, and not just people that are in your age group. There was a survey. It was done on behalf of Career Builder, but it was done by Harris Interactive, and what they found is that 69% of people who are 55 years and older work for younger bosses. So that's a lot of people, a lot of older individuals that are working for people that are younger than they are. And so you want to make sure that when you're out networking and building these networks, that you're building it with people of all different ages. So you want some young people, some 20 and 30 year olds. If you have those in your workplace, you want some 40 and 50 and whatever else you have. You want to have a mixture of people that you're networking with in your organization. And the flip side of that is that people get to know, you get to know people because you're expanding your network, but they get to know you. They say it doesn't matter who you know, it's who knows you, right? And you want to also make sure that you are taking opportunities to highlight your skills and not just to your immediate supervisor, but to the other levels of leadership within your organization. Or even if they're not in leadership positions, people in other parts of your organization. Because if you're on a work group, for instance, or a steering committee, and people get to know the kind of work that you do, when their boss comes to them and they're looking for somebody who can do XYZ certain thing, if they've worked with you and they've seen the quality of work that you've done, then they'll be more apt to say, I know this person from the steering committee or the work group or whatever it was. They do really good work. You might want to consider them. So it helps you in that way as well. The other thing that you want to do is really, instead of focusing on the things that you don't have, you want to play to your strengths. You want to really hone in on what it is that you're really talented, really skilled at doing, and really, just kind of continually develop and hone and sharpen those talents and skills that you have, because that's going to be your edge when it comes to getting noticed from those millennial or just younger bosses that you have, and help you to be able to just really kind of, how in a business you carve out a niche for yourself. So in this particular space, in the career space, you're carving out a specialty for yourself so that you are the go-to person for something that is of value to the people who have the power to make hiring and promotional decisions. So you want to keep that in mind. Again, I've talked about just focusing on the results. You don't need all of that other banter and, gossiping and whatever. Your job is to support your supervisor in getting the mission of the organization complete. That's your job as an employee. And you do that by contributing on your individual level to the work of the whole. And so you want to focus on getting the best possible results that you can, so that your whole team looks good, your whole unit looks good, your organization, your department, your whatever looks good, and that it not only looks good on the outside, but they're getting the results, they're making the progress, they're hitting the high marks, they're the innovators, all of that kind of stuff. Younger bosses are really focused on innovation, technology, all of that stuff. So those are the kinds of things that you want to, keep abreast of if you're hoping to get their attention and get promoted by them. And so, it's really some things that you need to look at, as we were talking about. Of course, you never want to stop. If there's an opportunity to take a training, if there's an opportunity to volunteer for a special project where you can gain some new skills, you can develop your existing skills, you can have that exposure that you want, then you want to make sure that you're taking full advantage of those kinds of opportunities. So it's not really so much different than how you would get promoted if you had a boss that was your age or a boss that is much older. It's just figuring out what it is that matters most to that group of leadership that's in your organization, and doing the things that are within your areas of strength to, help them to get the outcomes that they are desiring, and to help them to be able to see how you can be an asset. You want to be an asset and not the complainer that's going around the office, talking about how bad things are because you have a 20-year-old boss, and creating problems and conflict and what is the word I'm talking about, and creating distance within the team. You want to be the one who is helping to bring cohesiveness and results. Bottom line, you want to be bringing results, because this is a business, it's an organization, it has a purpose for existing, and you want to make sure that you're contributing to that and that people can see specifically and exactly what it is that you're contributing and how you bring value. It's all about bringing value. Okay? So I think, let me check my little notes right here just to make sure I have shared with you everything that I meant to. And I did. Oh, the last thing. Don't compare your supervisor or your boss to your children if they are younger than you. They don't want to hear anything about you have a kid their age, because this is, them trying to make a name for themselves. They're in a professional environment. They've trained. They've, studied whatever it took for them to get to where they are. And so, they want to be recognized for their professional merits and not because they remind you of your 20-year-old. Okay? So just remember that. It's just all about that professionalism and treating people the way that you would want to be treated if you were in that particular situation. So that's what I have for you guys tonight. I hope you have gained some insight from these tips to help you to figure out a way to advance your career with your millennial boss or your millennial leadership in your organization. And if you are someone who is serious about being able to do just that, taking the steps that are necessary to advance your career in 2019 so that, whether you have a millennial boss or not, you can reach your target, or be well on the way to making great progress toward it by the end of 2019, I would like to offer you the opportunity to pick up your very own copy of the Your Next Level Career Action Planner that is designed specifically to help individuals to get that promotion that they're going after, to get that pay raise that they desire, to find their dream job, to find the job that helps them to feel a sense of fulfillment, to, really help them to enrich in their professional experience and to be able to obtain the goals that they have set for themselves and no longer just sit back year in and year out wishing and hoping and dreaming that something is going to happen, but actually taking concrete, specific steps to help to move their journey along further so that they can actually reach the goal instead of just dreaming about the goal. So the planner is not a calendar. It's really not a calendar. It's about helping you to sit down and really hone in and focus on what it is that you want to accomplish and what are the things that you need to do each month to be able to accomplish them, and then to do it consistently. So it's not about getting up one day and doing one thing and then 6 months later you decide, I forgot. I remember. I wanted to do that thing. It's not that. It's about taking consistent actions to help you to reach your goals and to be strategic about it, to be very focused and specific about what it is that you're trying to obtain, and having a way to hold yourself accountable so that you are doing the things that you need to be doing that really count and add to the bottom line and help to move you closer to where it is that you want to be in your career. Because I see so many people who are say that they're not making enough money in their jobs, they can't get promoted, it's all kinds of things that have financial ramifications that are directly related to the careers that we have, the career choices that we make. And so everybody who has a career aspiration needs to get really strategic, needs to get serious about doing the things that it takes to get you what it is that you want. Your Next Level Career Action Planner is the tool to help you to do that. And if you are interested in learning more information, you can go to bit.your next level CAP Career Action Planner. And that's bit.ly/your next level, capital C, capital A, capital P. And get your copy, because we're actually running out of time where we're going to be offering this. So if you have been on the fence and you're kind of, I don't know if that's something that I really need, or maybe it is, maybe it is not, and you looked at the link or you've been meaning to look at the link, then this is your opportunity to go ahead and take advantage of the special offer that I have, where you can get 78% off. I mean, just imagine if you're in a store and at Macy's and they have something 78% off. You're going to be all over the sales rack, right? So you need to be all over this sales cart so that you can make sure you don't waste another day. You don't waste another minute, another hour, another second not making the progress that you need to be making to reach your career goals in 2019. So that's what I have for you guys tonight. I will actually go back and type the link in the Facebook, because I forgot to do it tonight. Anyway, so that you can have the link and be able to get your own personal copy. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Don't forget to like and share this video. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.